In chess, one of the most important things to get correct is the opening phase. Look at the white position. White only has a king. Why am I showing you this? Because it is focusing from the black side. Look at the black moves. Knight f6, pawn to e6, and bishop b4 check. In order to get your openings correct, well, one day, in your chess playing career, you will face the Bogo-Indian defense. And we are going to take it from the top. So, from the white pieces, you may face this, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to play against this opening. d4, knight f6. c4, e6, knight to f3. There are so many different ways for black to respond. Bishop b4 check is one of them. Can you see there are 3 different ways to block? I'm going to show you 2 of them that you should not do. This is just against my taste. After knight c3, I don't really like this. Black can go into a Nimzo-Indian defense, a different opening, but really I don't really like this structure. Take, check, and then d6. Setting up on a dark square strategy, this is actually one of the best ways for black to set up. Next chapter. I also don't want you to do this. You block with the bishop, which looks like such a normal move. You're giving black a few options. The bishops might come off, and then you go d6. That's actually why black can set up on the dark squares, because they don't have their dark squared bishop anymore. e3, all the pawns connect, bishop e2, and now you can strike in the center. Already, this is looking really good for black. If you get space, then black will play around. Black will get dark squares control. So first part of this video, you can see William is telling you all the things, all the setups you should not go for. Knight a6, knight c5, so much central control. Look at the green arrows, you're controlling all those dark squares. The bishop can come out. The knights, the 2 blue arrows, control e4, so don't do this. So, what are we going to do from the top? d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, bishop b4, check. I want you to block with the knight. I'm giving double exclamation mark just because I want you to remember it. There are many moves here for black. The red and the blue I will cover very soon. Castle is also one option. And then the main line will be this move coming up at the end of the video. That is a popular response. However, another popular choice is this move. So far in the Bogo, remember, you need to block with the knight and then push your pawn to attack this bishop. The red arrow is actually the worst option because your bishop just gets trapped. So, in this moment, that will be the final part of the video. Here they can take. Now I'm going to show you 2 options. You can take with the bishop or take with the queen. And let me know in the comments which option you might want to go for. Every single key variation, there will be a timestamp in the pinned comment. It will be the top one where I lay out everything. You can always come back to the video. Bishop takes d2. Now, here black can set up in the dark square. This was the ideal setup that I mentioned before. It's like a perfect setup. Queen e7, e5. That's why people play this opening. But how do we counter it? Queen c2. We control that square. e4 is possible, but really, if black goes e5, black wants to strike with e5, we stop it with bishop c3. You see, we're playing with a bishop that our opponent doesn't have. They can't strike in the center. Take, take, take. The bishop is in the game. So here, black might continue their perfect setup, knight d7. But it doesn't matter, we can get space. We can get space with b4. The pawn front looks impressive anyway. It doesn't matter if they strike, we can take. e3 is actually possible, but I think we should just take. And now, e3, let's discuss all the arrows. Green arrows, we can see there's just so much control from the pawns. The 2 blue arrows from the bishops, they can get in the game, and now white can castle. This is looking strong. Just want to show you one other choice. If we go back to this moment, what if black jumps in with the knight? We want to keep this bishop. Rook c1's a normal move, get the bishop out, the pawn chain. Then the queen can go to c2, hit the knight, and then you play around the knight. Look at the red arrows, we get more space with the pawns. Bishop d3 is possible. You can castle either side, I don't mind. I don't mind. Put pressure, and then lots of ideas here. I really like this one. h3, g4. If you want to be super aggressive, which I love doing anyway in chess, you can castle the other side. So that's one variation. Next chapter. You will hear me keep saying next chapter because I'm flicking through all these studies on lead chess. Here we go. Repetition leads to acquisition. Here we go. Check, knight d2. a3, kick it away, take, and now this was the other option I promised. Queen takes d2. The bishop might come out the other way. Okay, they might hit the queen, doesn't matter. Queen c2. There are a few ways to defend the knight. Let's say they go d5, now you go e3. Can't take because the knight is hanging. They might strike in the center. I was thinking this normal move, pawn to b3. But the engine says this cool move, b4. I love this move because it's just so unexpected. We just try to open things up. Double exclamation mark. Why not? Emphasis for you to try these lines. b4. Take. That capture will be bad because then the rook is in the game. Capture the other way. Then take. Lots of options. You can even get more space. Bishop d3 hit. And now from this position, we'll pause it here. White is better. Look at the green arrows. You can push your pawns to get a majority. Lots of central control. Dark square control. I'll put that in green now. The knight controls e5. The bishop can come out with a castle. White has a nice space advantage. From the top again, that's how these opening videos work. Check. We block. Now d5. This was the option I promised before. What if they strike in the center? Now we go check. That's actually a difference. That's why in these kind of positions, black tends to castle, because after check, it looks like we are winning the bishop, but black can block with knight c6. Defend the bishop. Here's the cool move to remember. Pawn to a3. Remember that. Question the bishop. Again, this is a terrible move because they lose the bishop. Hey, you never know. Someone could fall for this. Just an easy way to trap the bishop. No, so really the normal option is they might take with check. Doesn't matter, we can take. Queen defends this, pawn e3, that looks good. However, they might go back and then I just want you to retreat. Your queen is doing nothing, queen to c2. That's the pawn break black wants. e3, normal move, all the pawns are defended. b3, now what? Bishop b2, that's the key idea. Stop black getting a pawn break in, because if you play a nothing move, then I think black now frees the position. Can you see the black rook is now in the game? We don't want to do that. So we play bishop b2, control that square. Oops, control that square here. They might come back, but then we can actually put a piece on e5, stop them breaking. Even that's okay, hit the bishop, but this is, oops, this is okay as well, knight e5, and now lots of arrows to discuss. Green arrows show we can control the central e5 square. Red arrow means queen c2, bishop d3, hitting h7. Yellow arrow means white can castle either side. I don't really mind. The blue arrow, the piece can come in the game. This position already looks way too strong. Good. Alright, this brilliant move I'm going to show you very soon. Here we go. So from the top again, they check us, but now they go into a Queen's Indian setup. What do I mean? They go b6, bishop b7. Such a popular way to play. Same move, guys. Same moves. That's why you've stuck around for 7 minutes so far. This is the key move, a3. Of course, that's a blunder. You just lose your bishop. So, after this move, they might go back. No, here is actually a bit worse because now e4, you strike in the center. I'll show you that at the very end of the video. That's the main line. Bishop takes d2 check. We could take back with the bishop or the queen. Today, let's go bishop. This is the point of black setup. They want to control the central light square, so we just play around it. e3. Now, this bishop looks a bit blocked in. Ideally, it would be better there, but now here's a cool move coming up. Also, do not blunder. That's an absolutely terrible move because now black has a brilliant bishop in the center. No, you play around the piece. If they take, well, we can just take back with the knight. That's fine. I think we've got the center looking strong. Even the queen can come out to g4 or to h5. This looks good. So what if just black does normal thing, which is also the best thing, just keep the piece in the middle. Your knight is so strong, so why not keep it? Here's the brilliant move I mentioned 30 seconds ago. Tuck the bishop back. Why? Is it really to do with keeping this bishop? Yes and no. It's about chasing that knight away. Chasing that knight away with knight to d2. Remember that. So we've got space with b4. I really like this blue arrow. I'm so glad I discovered this when coming up with this video idea. Knight to d2. Challenge. Now they can take, but then you just get your bishop in the game. They will probably defend, and now it's time to just kick this knight away. f3, double exclamation mark. Why? Because I want you to remember these moves. That's why I do this. Overemphasize. That's what I'm doing. Overemphasizing a move, kick the knight away. They probably trade, and now this is looking good. Look at the green arrow, so much central control. The blue arrow means the bishop goes there. The queen is the yellow arrow. Get the queen in the game, and pawn break maybe e4 for us. See, this position is amazing for white because the pawn breaks belong to white. That's why this opening is actually quite difficult to play with black. But it's only difficult if white plays the best setup. Really good setups. You can't go e5 because that drops. You can't really go c5 because now bishop c3 and any capture will be good for white. The rook is in the game. You can get the pawns rolling. If you go this way, then you take this way, and now that's actually weak. The rook can go to e1. So all of these pawn breaks work out really well. And if you go queen e7, just trying to prepare the break, well, you can't. That's the thing. You can't play e5 yet because that pawn. You might defend it, but it doesn't matter because white's still a bit better. White is still a bit better. That's one option. Get space, keep the tension, get the queen in the game. Here, we can pause it. White is better. Next chapter. From the top again. Check. We block with the knight. We kick it away. That's the main move. That is the key move to remember. Block with the knight, kick the bishop, it drops back. To e7. We've already spoken about this one. This was in the first chapter. The first thing I covered with you guys today. Now they dropped the bishop back. Now why is the Bogo-Indian maybe not the best? Because black hasn't struck yet. It's like the queen's gambit declined, but maybe you'll move behind. It's okay. We punish our opponent by striking ourselves, e4. Now there are two moves for black. You can go d6 or d5. Let's go d6 first. Black is still playing on a dark square strategy. I'm going to show you a really cool move coming up. Bishop d3, that is not the cool move. That's just a normal move. And now knight d7. Black wants to get central space. And here, castle. e5. You can play a normal move, okay? Rook e1 is good. You might go h3, stop the bishop coming out here. You can get space. Here's a cool move, knight b1. That's crazy, isn't it? You just deliberately put the knight back on the starting square. You might be thinking, well, what is William talking about? So then, the knight can now come back in the game, and then this bishop is in the game. Right, so here black might take in the center. And now putting pressure in the center is fine. You see, our bishop is not really good. It's not really good. And now, if black takes, now we got central control. Look at the green arrow, so much control on the white squares. We can get more space with b4. The red arrow means the bishop can come out to f4 or g5. And you can see the blue arrows. Put the two rooks in the middle. White has good spatial advantage. Next chapter. Here is another brilliant move coming up. So, from the top again, we check, we block with the knight, we kick it away, strike in the center, and this time they strike, d5. You can take or you can push. I prefer push. Get the space, hit the knight, it drops back, and now bishop d3. That's the Greek gift move to remember. There's so many brilliant moves in this video. I'm glad you've stuck around up to this point. We are 12 minutes in. Bishop d3. Greek gift, sacrifice coming up. c5, they strike in the center. That's one of the best moves. h4. Now, if they play a blunder, they lose immediately. They take in the center, wrong. We now crash in style. Bishop takes h7, check. It just flows. This attack flows. It's not even, you're not even trying. Check. Discover check from the rook. The queen comes in. It's almost mate. It is almost mate. The king can come out. Doesn't matter. You box the king in and then mate here or here. Good. Now, if we go back a bit, you might think William, he's just being a bit nice. Maybe check. Come out. Doesn't matter. Check. Take the knight, doesn't matter. Discovered check. Beautiful move. That is a double discovered check. All the kings, all the squares covered. We check again. And then mate. How cool is that? So really, this kind of attack is just so easy. It just flows. All the moves. You just crush your opponent so quickly. You might think, okay, well, now what? Well, I'm going to show you the final chapter. Maybe black's response. And still white gets a good position. How cool is that? From the top again. They strike in the center, but now black's best move is to play h6. Why? Because they stopped the knight g5. That was the Greek gift idea I just showed you. Now, so here's a really cool move. You tuck the bishop back to b1. Why? Because then the queen can go to c2, and then you've got checkmate pretty soon. They take in the center. That is so important for the Bogo player. Look at white. They have more space. So take in the center. Now we take. Relieve the tension, and then you go queen c2. You threaten checkmate in one move. That's a terrible move. Check and mate. No. So if we go back, maybe they go g6, but then we loosen the structure, h5, and really the entire center, the entire king side is collapsing. The entire king side is collapsing. So that won't happen. Queen c2, best way to block is f5, and here, do not en passant. Do not en passant, because the knight now comes in the game. Guarding the square. And you see that blue arrow with the pawn. Really, that pawn is useless. You can't really push that pawn anymore. After castle, bishop might come out. But now the black pieces are pretty good. Knight c6 as well. So do not do this. So can you see one important thing about this video? I'm showing you what to do, but also what not to do. And the traps that appear. That is so important when discussing openings with you guys. So here, after f5, get your pawn back. Your knight is actually on not a great square. Knight b3. green arrows, we can get our knight back. Blue arrow, that diagonal is open. You see that red arrow? That's very, very ambitious of me. I flick in g4. I might checkmate the dude in one move with queen h7. Knight c6. They defend the center, but it's really about attacking our strong point, so we defend with bishop to f4. Bishop to f4. They might sacrifice their pawn. That is actually a better move, and now here's a really, really cool move. There's so many cool moves. I love doing this video. Even I've learned something. You see that bishop on b1? That's rubbish. Time to redeploy it, reposition. Bishop a2. It's not about defending your knight. It's about attacking this diagonal, the d5 pawn. Also, you see the blue arrow? I'm going to bring that rook in to attack on d4. Rook d1. And can you see black's pieces? They can't even move. So maybe black offers a trade, but it's okay. We can take and then just put pressure. You can even take on d5. I would kick away the bishop, and then something like this. We can take on d5. I think that's what I should have done on the previous move. Yeah, why not? Take on d5 next. Queen d2. Those are the blue arrows. We can get our pawn back. We've got lots of space. Can you see black can hardly move? Like, what's the point? And you see, that is the setup. You see, if you play a great setup against someone, you will make someone get a bad position, and then you might win later. You have good winning chances. And now one more moment here. They might sacrifice, doesn't matter. The reason for the sacrifice is now knight c5. They want to trade pieces, take. Put the bishop on a2. That's the really cool move from this moment, from this chapter. Or you can kick the bishop away. So many arrows. I love the yellow arrow. That's my favorite because then the bishop goes to a2. So much central control, as you can see from all the green arrows. So much dark square control. We hit the bishop. Bishop a2, rook d1, and we have lots of space. Fantastic. This is the key move to remember. Block with the knight, kick the bishop away, get the center, and we have a good chance for getting a great position in the Bogo. Master the Queen's Gambit or master the Catalan, dominate with black. 2 video suggestions for you if you guys want to stick around. Before you leave, let me know in the comments which setup was your favorite. I have a time stamp at the top, the pinned comment, and you can let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.